million man to work with. We always hear that, well, he has a lot of controversy about him. So was he good to you?
Oh, he's a good guy, man. He's a cool guy, real good guy. Uh huh. He show you. I mean, he can tell you when you miss a punch, or if a punch isn't laid in right. You mean do it right. You mean so you can't beat that. You mean
And I guess because they gave him the gimmick of the $1 million man, Vince McMahon
yeah.
treated you guys differently with your travel. You got to
Right.
travel first
Well,
class.
we flew first class everywhere, everywhere. Okay, and we went on the first team. We went around the world. Okay, it wasn't just in the United States. We went around the world, and wherever we were at, the money we were throwing out was our money. Okay, and we rocked and rolled it, man.
What
You
on
see how people?
average would you spend like in a day? Like if you're going for dinner, did they pay for your dinners at fancy restaurants
Oh
too?
yeah, you eat the best restaurants in the world. You ate at. You ate anything you wanted to eat. Okay, and then you can buy food for other people. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Sometimes Ted paid for meals for like 15 or 20 other guys.
That's pretty good. So you must have been well liked for that.
Yeah. And then they show why they really call him the $1 million man. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, for sure. Now you always had a better physique than the $1 million man. I guess you didn't train with him. I guess you probably went to the gym when he was
Oh
still
yeah.
sleeping.
Man, I said Jack, man, I was used to hitting the gym myself, you mean? Hitting the gym in the morning, early in the morning, and hitting the gym late at night, you mean?
What was your favorite match from that time period when you were managing? Would it have been the SummerSlam at Madison Square Garden?
Oh, it always got to be the garden, man. The garden is the main thing everywhere. You mean you can rock the garden, you can rock anywhere. See what I'm talking about?
Were you happy when they told you that they were going to break you and Ted up and make you into a singles wrestler?
No, I mean it was pretty cool. I mean, I liked it. Like me and Ted have fun going around the world, man. I mean, you're doing first class everywhere. You mean, but some things, good things, got to come to the end sometimes. You mean, and you rock and roll in it. You mean?
Of course, he was my manager for a little bit.
$1 million corporation.
Yeah, and what that whole thing there, Devin, was is he was put on the road with me to see that I didn't get in any trouble.
Right.
And the deal was really the real deal was I wasn't the one. I got into that one incident with Arn, and that was the only time
I drank again.
Never drank, got in trouble. But really, you can ask Bob Holly this and Carl Willett. We did more babysitting on for Ted, because he was under the microscope for having affairs. When he was using that church deal, which I despise him doing that. He was charging churches to go meet with them, but
I believe he still does that.
Yeah,
he still him a fee.
Yeah, I can't do that. But we were actually stopping him, trying to keep him from drinking and getting with women that he was constantly. I never forget one night. This is after he'd already gotten in trouble. Yeah, we were in the bathroom at some club, and I heard I couldn't. He didn't know I was in. He goes, I surely thought Ted DiBiase could get better looking women than that. He was some ugly girl, but he did that even after he got caught. So he was still trying to get ugly women. There was a promoter that had one of those, remember, billiard shops up in Buffalo, and I think he screwed everybody over just about. But that's when I first heard it. He goes, Ted DiBiase tells me to get him hooked up with all these churches, and so I do. And he goes, I get him here. He goes, well, how much I'm getting paid? And that's something I could never do. I could never, ever charge a church for something. I mean, I'm giving my money to the churches. I'm not taking money from them. What was his name? Buddy Landell did that for a while too. But it's funny how all these guys get into religion when they, I don't know, at the end of their careers. It's just, it'd be great if one of them seemed sincere. But again, we were saying again, I can't imagine asking money for church. They need money. They're trying to do good things.
Sid was telling me that Ted DiBiase liked to fuck the ugly arena rats. Did you ever notice that?
Listen, I knew Teddy from '85 in Mid-South, and I did some bar hopping with him for a few months, and that's actually pretty true. He would be sitting there at the bar, and he'd go, "Hey, look at her." I said, "Yeah, she looks pretty rough." "Oh, are you kidding me? She looks great." And man, that's the one thing before he sobered up, cleaned up, and found the Lord. And I'm glad he did, because he kept his wife and marriage and the kids and all that. But before that, Ted was a hound. And like I said, Ted ain't necessarily my favorite person, because he's like, it's always about Ted. Always. He won't let you say one word. He'll tell you all about his kids. Last time I seen him, he told me all about Teddy. This wasn't last time. I take it back. It was in '07. He said, Teddy hasn't had sex at all before he's getting married to this girl. He was kind of always bragging about his family. And then I was going to tell him about my family, and then he just walked away. I got to go. I'm like, oh, okay. One of these guys, I get it.
He's actually been in a lot of trouble in recent years. I don't know if you've heard, but there was money that was supposed to go to the poor, and I guess his son was part of the people allocating it. And I guess
Really?
his ministries received like over 700,000 of money that was designed to go to the poor and not actually
Really?
his ministry. So he has to pay it back now.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm glad whoever busted him on that, kudos to him. Because Ted deserves to get busted. He's got this uncanny ability to just money, self, conversation. He just absolutely thinks super highly of himself. And Hannibal, if you ever watch his ministry speeches, I've watched a few, and he opens up his sermon with, I love money, and then he goes to the thing like, yeah, I just had to get that out of my system. He'd say, and really, all you're doing is trying to bogart and brag about yourself,
And don't they sell gimmicks at those sermons too after? It's very similar to wrestling, where you're just basically cutting a promo, but you're trying to do it for God, I guess, in that case.
It is. And if you do it clean and right and don't take none of the money, it's all really good. But yeah, that's what they do. They got books, and Ted probably had his 8x10 pictures, wrestling pictures. He probably had his action figures. So it's just like just like that. And that is not my thinking of a church deal.
Me and Tully Blanchard and the $1 Million Man played it during the same time.
Okay. I had a fan that told me to ask you, I guess there was something that happened between you and Ted DiBiase in the parking lot, I guess, back in those days.
Not that I ever remember.
Oh, okay.
No. I mean,
Okay.
that's just a rumor.
What are your thoughts on everything going on with Ted now? I guess there's a big scandal for, I guess, his ministries accepting several $1 million worth of money that was meant to go to help feed the poor.
Well, I don't know if it's true or not, but if it's true, you're using the Lord's name to get ahead, and then something like this happens. To me, I don't have a lot of respect for something like that. It's how much money is enough? I mean, why do you have to rob from people to further yourself?
Any favorite match with Ted over the years? I know you worked with him a lot.
Well, as the wrestling world knows, DiBiase was one of the best heels in the business. I pretty much enjoyed every match that nothing stands, uh, on my mind right now. When I switched to become El Matador, I was supposed to come out with a big angle with him, and then it was dropped. I would have loved to have had a feud with Ted, because both of us would have been good workers, and we would have done good in a feud.
Hi. He has a WWE shirt on. My family helped you with that company. What do you think about that?
I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, but then they all died. So great job, WWE. No, just kidding. That's terrible. I know. Only I can do that. Only I can joke about the Von Erich deaths. Anyone else does it. It's really awkward.
I was talking to you a little bit, and I was talking to Hannibal behind the scenes. And about 4 months ago, he did an interview with Ted. Yeah, Hannibal did an interview with Ted. Shout out to Hannibal, by the way. We're on Hannibal's network right now.
Oh, with Ted DiBiase?
Yeah, Ted DiBiase. He did an interview with Ted, and there was a segment that came up, a question about you, Virgil.
Yeah.
And it was if Ted would be willing to work with you as far as, events and autograph signings and all that. And I would like you to check. I have the clip, okay? And I'd like you to check it out for me. All right. So listen to what Ted. So basically, to set this up for you, Hannibal asks him, Virgil has done autograph signings, but you guys are never together, basically, is the context. Do you have any issues with Virgil? If so, what are they? What is your status with Virgil? Right? That was the question. So I want you to check this out, okay? And we'll talk about it right after.
Had anything against Virgil. He was a nice enough guy. We never, and it was kind of like, it was a business relationship more than anything. Virgil had a way of it was kind of like he would make stories up sometimes when it was easier just to tell the truth. I mean, that's the nicest way I can say that. I know that he's probably had some issues. I didn't know, again, I just, I'm here for this wrestling gig and signing autographs, and somebody else was telling me that, that his health wasn't good and what have you. And so I've never done a whole lot with him because of some of the things that he has done to himself, if you understand what I'm saying, and made it where people don't want him to come. And I guess, you get in a desperate situation, desperate situations, and I guess desperate people do desperate things. But now that I'm hearing again that he's in poor health and what have you, I said, I'd be okay. I'd be okay, if it will help him out, and somebody wants to book us, as a team to sign autographs, I'd be happy to do it. And I mean that.
Interesting. $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. So there's a lot to unpack there, Virgil. What's your response to that video? What's your initial thought?
Yeah, I would like to thank Ted for wanting to have me at the event with him, because he was always a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
To me, he was always a great guy.
Mm.
And he overlooked anything, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
You never seen a guy like him before. He was a great teacher and he was a great talker. Okay?
Yeah.
And he was the best of the best.
So he's saying at one point in the video, he said that there were things that you would do or say that made people not want to work with you. What's your response to that?
he's probably he's probably right. You mean?
You
Because
think
like,
so?
yeah, he's right. You mean?
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews,